Hey guys, so this is a little bonus video we decided to do because we didn't have a podcast last week. You know, last week we felt a bit bad, the editing pipeline was a bit nasty, so as a result, on Friday we decided to make something beautiful, something creative. So instead of a podcast, we went and watched a movie. So as a result, we decided to make a movie review, and and as it's popular and a bit critiqued, we decided to watch Suicide Squad. So it's myself, Daniel, Blake, Joey, and Terry, who is our monitor, and we decided we had to record this over Skype, so the audio quality might be a bit shaky, but this might become a series. We decided to call it Bronze Screen Reviews because, well, look at us. We're not exactly big guys for the silver screen, are we? We're not made for it. And beyond that, shout out to Jonathan Lian who used Warner Brothers. So it used Warner Brothers app to make the amazing graphic that you'll see later in the video. It's only audio because it was a Skype call, so there was no video we could really do. And I hope you guys enjoy this as much as, well, we may or may not have enjoyed this movie. You need to watch to find out. And enjoy the bronze screen review of Suicide Squad. See ya! Hey guys, it's Bronze Screen, and this is our first ever review. We're doing it of Suicide Squad. Today we have Joey, Kai, it's not Kai, I'm tired.
You fucked up. Congratulations.
You done fucked.
Why don't we just introduce ourselves, then you're not confusing yourself.
Fine, B for Blake, J for...
You're not Blake, you're not Joey. I said, why don't we introduce ourselves, then you can remember, then we can introduce you.
Fine, Chris.
Anyway. Okay, I'm Blake.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Terry, the moderator usually. He's gone to shit so fast.
Leveling up.
You need to get in this.
Yeah, he's taking some rare candies.
I feel baited right now.
Okay, so
He's got a lucky egg.
On Friday, instead of recording the podcast as we usually do, we instead decided to watch Suicide Squad at a really late hour. So this is why we're doing this like 2 days later.
Yeah.
No, don't date this. No, we clearly did it like just recently. We just watched the film, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the non-spoilery set, and then after that we will go into full spoilers. We'll tell you when we make that switch, and we're only going to do like a 20-minute video, but we'll let you know. So Suicide Squad. So what was the general consensus?
Oh, general consensus is going to be difficult. We should probably do this in order. We'll start off with, I don't know, Chris. Okay.
It was a very mixed movie for me, if that makes sense. Like, there were moments where I had fun, there was moments where the action was good, but the story, it was just like, story wasn't great. Several characters were very one-dimensional or just very not set out well. Like, soundtrack was good overall, but just not great. No, it wasn't great. It wasn't the thing that everyone expected it to be. It was a bit of a shit show, to be honest, if you actually read outside the lines. I'll explain that later.
J for Joey?
Okay. It was it was just okay. It was like nothing really wowed me at all. It was just like another action movie. Maybe just like in that 50 zone, like not good, not bad or anything like that. Like,
you all have really bad keyboards, I just noticed.
The story was just like...
Who is typing right now? Chris, oh my god, your typing is so loud.
Okay.
Just keep going,
We all have really loud keyboards.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's it. It's just meh to me, but like, yeah.
Okay. I kind of want to go last because I have the most different one.
Alright, Terry?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. Like, this is coming from someone who doesn't really watch movies and knows nothing about, like, the DC, Marvel, or whatever universe it is. I don't really care that much. It was entertaining for what it was, but other than that, like, I can see why certain fans would feel somewhat disappointed with it. Like, there was a lot of plot holes, and I'll leave it at that for now.
Alright, since Blake wants to go last, I'll go next. I personally found it rather enjoyable. It was good but not great. I liked two of the characters in particular.
You can't say which ones there, as long as like you're not going into detail.
All right.
Yeah.
I liked Deadshot and Harley in particular. I had fun with what they did. I had fun with all the action. I'd watch it again. I mean, I'm not going to say it was great, like I said, but it was fun enough that I'd go see it a second time, as long as it's with friends. So yeah.
Okay. I guess. Like, I really enjoyed that movie, but that's because I've been watching quite a few meh movies lately. Like, the last movie I saw before then was actually Batman vs Superman. That was the last movie I've seen. So compared to that, it was amazing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was amazing relative to that. I'd say, like, you know, on a spectral scale, like
Spectrum.
I had a lot of fun with the film. I had a lot of fun.
It was a fun film, but like it was really
I just always felt that every single scene just needed to be a tiny bit longer. But it just felt like every single scene just went, like, this entire movie just went to get a haircut, and it ended up with Will Smith's haircut.
I'd say
Interesting.
I'd say that it was like some of the stuff was definitely underdeveloped, but wouldn't you? But like, you know, I do think Will Smith did a really good job. There's not many. There's not many shows that, unless the script was absolute shit prior, that Will Smith doesn't make center stage and pretty at least watchable.
Unless he writes it himself.
But more to the point, I feel like there was the issue. The issue really came in the fact that they tried to, like, it had the similar issue to Batman vs Superman, where they were trying to introduce an Avengers style thing where there's several characters interacting with each other without going through the process of actually flushing them out. Like, they flushed out, you know, Will Smith and Harley Quinn pretty well.
Deadshot Harley Quinn was like fleshed out.
Like, yeah,
the two mains, yeah.
Like, and you know, you try and give a shit about the concept, but it just it just jumps all over the place. It was just messy. And that goes, like, you know, like, the music was great. Like, I loved that soundtrack because there was a lot of fun, like, and chaos to it, but
Mama.
it felt like it slipped
into the end.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
It felt like it slipped off at certain points, especially in the logic of certain characters and how much it was like people thought we were meant to care. Especially like there were issues with the pacing where it's like like, I assumed, like, you know, like they were going to go face the big bad and that was the initial mission, but it turns out there was certain other things in the background that were going on that were just being thrown around, and it wasn't like it was either meant to be a surprise. I thought it they made it sound like it was supposed to be some surprise twist, but it was like stupid.
It wasn't that.
I will agree with that.
The way they did it made it not too stupid, but yeah.
This was the thing that I think for many people, like, I have watched a couple of reviews, but I took notes before I watched anything to bias the opinion. But like, for many people, this seemed to be the thing that was going to save the DCU, the DCCU, I guess, but. And it just wasn't. It didn't help its current record. Like, I can look this up, and I can, like, look at the Rotten.
Yeah, they're all under 50, I think.
Actually, the Rotten Tomatoes score is actually a story in itself. To be fair, because there was a petition on for after the Suicide Squad where the Rotten Tomatoes score has been pretty bad, for people to then try and take down Rotten Tomatoes because of its biased score. 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, and keep in mind that that's an aggregate, so it's a combination of several different opinions, and it's about positivity, not. It's about
the average of. Yeah, it's an average of who reviewed it positively and who reviewed it negatively. Yeah, that's it. So like 26%. What is it? 26%.
Yeah. Those are
the 26% reviews said it was positive. That's it.
That's bad. That's just
that's bad. Yeah.
I think like they didn't get into much. They didn't use the Joker as much as I would have hoped, especially and the way they used him was kind of flimsy.
Yeah, it was very odd. Like they should have done a lot more to make it a
It's
better
like
movie.
he was very interesting going into that film because you wanted to see what they could do with this different version of the Joker.
One that
And they didn't do
in
anything.
Batman, Superman had apparently burned down Wayne Manor or something. So I was really curious to see what he
Actually,
what
was
he'd be able to do
this
from that.
this was a sequel to, like, this was following on from what happened there, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, well, literally one of like the first things is like, oh, Superman is dead, which is like, you know.
Oh right, yeah.
Thing.
But I think
That's the whole premise of the Suicide Squad is, well, Superman is dead, and more Supermen might come around who aren't friends with us, so we need some kind of like group of people who can fight that. Hence the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so I think
they needed a group of people who could fight that, but were also disposable.
If we're gonna go into
Expendable as all fuck.
if we're gonna go into start using spoilers for other movies, maybe we'll just start spoilers for this movie now, I guess.
I mean, it's spoilers for a different movie, so
It doesn't. No. It does count.
It's still in the same universe in a sense. So
And
like,
I'd say, okay, so apologies for that spoiler, but we're gonna go into full spoilers now because pretty much.
Okay.
So
sure.
so all gloves are off. You know, we're gonna go into the full detail of the movie, and
Yay! Thank God.
Yeah.
I'm excited. This is where I can
Okay.
okay,
All right.
So where
Why
should
the
we?
fuck-
I'm gonna start with.
I'm gonna start with the Joker. I want to say, why the fuck did they have him crash in a helicopter and apparently be dead and for like
Yes,
most of the
that-
movie?
that did-
like why
that-
did
I did
like
not
why didn't he
understand
like okay, we thought he was dead, but then at the very end he wasn't dead. It's like, okay, why wouldn't he show up earlier?
There's actually this was something I wanted to go into, which was there was actually an interview with Jared Leto after he watched the movie, and he was pissed because apparently a lot of Joker scenes that they recorded were taken out. The quote is were there any that didn't get cut? I'm asking you, were there any that didn't get cut? There was so many scenes that got cut from this movie I couldn't even start. I think that the Joker, we did a lot of experimentation on the set. We explored a lot. There's so much that we shot that's not in the film. I'm curious to see what they got rid of. Because, like,
Yeah.
the
Man,
the Blu-ray,
that's deleted
the Blu-ray,
scenes. Yeah, it's gonna be like a movie length deleted scenes.
Oh gosh.
the Blu-ray is going to be interesting because that's going to have an extended cut, just like Batman vs Superman.
Oh God, why did that get an extended cut?
because it went R-rated, but
So
apparently
much
wasn't
was
that big.
cut.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right.
By the way, the extended cut apparently adds like very little to the film for Batman vs
Yeah, it was
Superman, which-
it was R-rated, so it was only meant to be R-rated, so it was just a bit of swearing and some implied sex and a bit more heavy implication on a sex scene.
Oh, it sucks.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but more to the point, I think. Yeah, like the Joker just. Like, it was one of those things where he wasn't bad, like, especially like that whole hand, like that mouth tattoo on his hand made things very interesting.
That
But
was a great addition.
yeah,
Chris.
it made him interesting.
I wasn't honestly sure how to feel about that until later, especially when it was like the promise with Harley and then using that on her, and it's like, oh, actually, like, I can see more of why that's better than I thought it was.
I think it was just a disappointment, though.
The movie? Yeah.
No, like the Joker wasn't just a disappointment. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like he was hyped up a bit, like definitely
God,
during the
was-
trailers.
It's
and
like
stuff.
he was in all of the trailers.
Yeah, he was in all the trailers, and like he barely did anything in the film.
Like, I just saw a trailer on YouTube where it's just him.
Really?
Yes.
How many of those scenes were in the movie?
Pretty much
None
all
of
of them,
them.
because it was all of his scenes.
Wow.
Wow.
But even beyond that, it like. Well, okay, was the Joker, like, the Joker was chaotic as he could have been, but the fact that he wasn't there really didn't mean that Leto couldn't make the character his own. Like, you know, he's still in Heath Ledger's shadow. But even beyond that,
way to shadow.
but even beyond that, someone might be able to answer this. I might be wrong. In the comics, does Joker actually give a shit about Harley Quinn? Because I kind of thought he wasn't meant to.
Okay, it's kind of weird,
different
because
Jokers, aren't they?
this Harley is based off the cartoon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her
which
origination.
it's sort of weird, very very weird. There is some versions of the Joker that do care a lot about Harley. There is some that are kind of indifferent, and then there's the really questionable one that is in the animated show in the end parts, the second season, not the first season.
Okay, so because that's what bothered me, because I remember I just didn't know the relationship between Harley Quinn and the Joker, and it felt a bit like, I don't know, I didn't know too much about their chemistry, if that makes sense, because it's not extremely explored here. It just feels like Harley's along for the ride, so it didn't feel like the Joker would have cared, but the fact that he did kind of sometimes.
Harley's like completely devoted to the Joker.
Yeah, obviously, but
that's kind of one of her main
it's
things.
the Joker's reciprocation that kind of it was a bit ambiguous, because I guess you didn't get to see chemistry that much.
I mean, the only scene that I can think of that would not like disagree with that is that bloody stupid ass. I don't even know what it is. The
acid scene?
Yeah,
the acid.
Like, I'm not
so
sure if that
stupid.
was acid, but that's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
It was burning their
like,
skin.
It was whatever it was. It was meant to bleach
the.
I think it was the same type of stuff that happened to the Joker to make his skin go white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I could tell.
Or at
was
least
such a
was in reference to it.
Yeah. But in what, like, they could have cut that scene entirely and put in another scene, and it would have still had no like impact to the story, in my opinion. Other than, because you could already get like hints of their of Harley's devotion and like the Joker's reciprocation for her affection. You could already like pick up hints of that, and then you have that one scene to explicitly say it. Like, you don't need it that much. You could put in another scene.
Let's be honest. Some people might have really needed.
Well, then they're too young to be watching the movie if they needed
Not
to.
young,
be
just
No, it's not a
like-
question of age for that.
or like mentally capable. Not mentally capable. I don't know. How do I sound PC enough to do this?
stupid.
Wait, PC, dude. Like, what type of stuff are you trying to?
Like.
Slow? Stupid?
Yes. All right, let's just use slow. If you're too slow to pick up on that, why are you watching the movie in the first? I mean, yeah, this is going downhill fast.
No, okay, I get you.
This is the same audience that is watching the Avengers.
Yeah.
They're not exactly like
It's
a combination
it's a
of
general-
smart people and not so smart people.
It's
in
the
this
common.
case.
It's all over the place.
It's a more general audience.
It's the human. It's
So
humans.
having both scenes that kind of hint at it and also scenes that explicitly say it, especially after the hints, is kind of helpful for both.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I would. But even beyond that, it just.
Especially
I
because
think
some of the hints like might have been like.
The way he acted was just for a plot line that went nowhere. Especially considering you felt like he was meant to rescue Harley and then Harley.
Movie with them.
Yeah, but it was like in this movie, what was he meant to do?
In this movie, he was meant to be. He was meant
to be the reason Harley Quinn existed.
Yeah, that. He was that. And the thing is, I think they were focusing, because I don't feel like DC is focusing enough on making their movies as movies by themselves. They're making it like multiple movies. They're trying too hard to do what Marvel is doing. They set up the Joker and Harley for other movies. Clearly, they weren't doing it as like, if it was a Marvel movie, it would have been like, theoretically, it would have been a lot more self-contained, and then it's like, oh, we can do more on it later. But this was clearly like, it was, as well as setting up why Harley exists, it was also clearly setting up for, let's have more movies with Harley and the Joker. This is like how they are about each other. We can focus on it later.
I'm sorry, but that, yeah, and like setting up.
I never said it was a good reason. I'm just saying that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah, but yeah, and that kind of will tangent into the reason she exists, but that also goes into how much of the background we got for the characters, I guess. Like, I'd say for me, it wasn't great. It made sense, but it wasn't great. Harley and Deadshot got flushed out somewhat. Like, Deadshot was good.
Was the main character.
He was the main character, but even so, like, you didn't feel like he.
I think he was a good choice as the main character. To
Will
be honest,
Smith
of the options.
In the DC universe is actually pretty good, I guess, because he actually has some anti-hero in him. That's why.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the fact that you picked
in the animated Suicide Squad, he's basically the main guy as well. To be fair.
Yeah, but I don't like. For me, that doesn't matter if you don't flush out any of your other characters. Like, for me, Deadshot, I can accept Deadshot being an anti-hero it felt like it still felt like the setup for what he was meant to do it was weak-ish. It wasn't like it was the strongest out of everything we were given, but it wasn't really well founded. Like I think every one of those characters, at least the main squad, could have gotten some form of reference prior or mention prior, or even like maybe some Netflix promos or something like that to let people know who they are. Like Captain, like, you know, if we're gonna, you know, rank who got the best background, it went, you know, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and then I guess, you know,
Diablo?
No,
Diablo, yeah.
I'd say Flag.
Diablo,
I would have said Flag.
No. Diablo. Definitely Diablo.
No, Diablo.
Like, Diablo got way more than Flag.
So Flag. So
got
Diablo,
current, like-
Diablo, Flag, and then Boomerang, and then just
Everyone-
nothing. And it's that.
Everyone was like,
Then Katana and then Slipknot.
I wouldn't even. Slipknot pissed me
Blake
off.
had a very good point about
Slipknot pissed
Blake
me
had a
off.
very good point about Slipknot.
Who is this Slipknot?
Well, hold off for now.
No. I want to say this now. Slipknot really pissed me off because he literally was put in there just to die. Nothing else. We didn't know anything about him. We barely knew what he did. We got no background on why he got caught. We had no background on anything.
Yeah.
We had nothing. We knew nothing about any of his background. We knew nothing of his skill, his enemies, etc. What he was doing, how he got caught. He was literally in there to die.
Okay,
No other
so
reason.
This is what I
give
told
an example of what happens. They opposed. That's it.
No,
like
This is what I told Daniel.
but that's pointless.
It's if he had the introduction at the start, his
Even
death
just
would
the
have
short
made a
one.
lot more meaning.
You could kind of like the same could have
It's
almost
like,
gone.
it doesn't matter that he died that early. What mattered is that he got no character before he died.
To be
Yeah.
fair to this film,
I would put this up.
to be fair to this film, the animated Suicide Squad movie, which was very good, did the exact same thing with one of its characters.
I don't care. Okay, here's the thing. I have not watched the animated films prior to this. Those are not linked. Those are not linked to the DC cinematic universe. Those are not linked to Warner Brothers in this sense. They're not linked. They are linked in terms of what their content are. They are not linked in how the character approaches, the actors approach it, the screenwriters approach it, any of it. So it's so I disagree that it's fair. I disagree that it's, you know, to reference one thing makes it fair for this thing because give me one person from the animated series that handled this film. Like, tell me one person.
I don't know any of the production people behind either of them. I can't tell you that.
But I'm at a big.
All I can compare are the end.
It
Would be the writer.
Was the writer the same?
One of the writers is, or at least one of the assistant writers, is someone who is very well known in the comics, particularly for writing the Killing Joke.
Oh.
Wait. Well, to be fair, the Killing Joke didn't really go well recently. Like, the animated Killing Joke didn't go amazingly.
The animated Killing Joke, however, the Killing Joke...
Was it the Killing Joke, or was it... No, it was something about the Mobius chair. But basically, he's very well known for doing the comic books, and they do this for Marvel as well. They basically get comic book writers to help out with the actual writers in sort of translating what happens in the comics. And also, a lot of the comics for DC have been very heavily influenced by the cartoons, more so than Marvel.
No, but okay,
There's still some crossover points,
but
it's just a case of does that matter in the long run?
I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly, and that's why I say it. Like, to be fair to the cinematic, to you know, a much more superior series is not valid because they're trying to set up their own thing that stands on its own legs, and they're falling hard.
It's almost as if they're trying too hard to reference the comics. Because, like, the opening to Batman vs Superman is an entire reference.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's what they're doing, and that's part of why they're falling flat so hard.
Because they're rushing, man.
But okay, so the story
They have to catch up with Marvel, and so they feel like they have to catch up with Marvel hard in several movies.
They shouldn't try,
But they
and to
are.
compare it to Marvel.
They shouldn't. No, Chris. They shouldn't. But Marvel is one of their biggest comic competitors, so they feel like they need to, and they're going to. That's going to happen.
Yeah,
That's part of why I don't want to compare them
paying
to Marvel
money
movies.
to actually get these things bailed.
Which is why they're desperate at this point, because they know how far behind in Marvel they are now, so they're just like really they're trying way too hard.
We're gonna
But
piss.
that's part of why I don't want to compare them to Marvel movies when I think about whether I like them or not.
That's what-
I just want to think of Marvel as like a non-factor. It's like, well, what's this like?
I'm not trying.
Is it good? Is it not good?
We'll have just pissed off the internet by saying this. Like going up to DC. Well, comparing DC to Marvel in this case, it's a valid argument, but I just feel like we just pissed someone off. But even
I
beyond,
said I don't compare them, but sure.
Assuming the person that could be pissed off actually watches this in the first place.
that is fair. But okay, so
Someone somewhere will be pissed off about
Waller, I liked Amanda Waller because like she was into like
Yes, she
was
okay.
okay.
Actually, can I say she was in this version of Amanda Waller. I'm going to compare it to the animated movie
That's
again.
fine.
In this, she felt more real, more interesting, and I liked her a lot more. In the
I'm going to compare it
animated
to
movie,
original comics later.
in the animated movie, she was just a fat bitch. That's all she was. She was literally just a dick to them the whole time, and was not.
So she's good from the source material. Is your point?
I don't know.
The animated series is not the source material.
Well,
but
she's good from she is a good form, is what I mean.
she is like I've heard this from a
She's
few
still a
comic book
bitch,
fans.
because that's
She
what she's
is
supposed to
the
be.
best adaptation of a character in quite a long time, and that is saying quite a bit.
I would still say,
Amanda Waller in this was
yeah,
perfect.
I liked it.
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I did.
She was clearly a bitch, especially when she remember that bit where she like shot all the people. It's like, oh, they weren't cleared for it. It's like,
Yeah, just
that's
like,
definitely
ow,
Amanda
oh,
Waller.
the fuck-
But then when she was like slightly lenient for the fact that they'd actually saved the world and stuff, whereas she just completely dicked them over for completing the mission that she gave them in the animated movie, to the point where Deadshot ended up assassinating her at the end. It was amazing, and you felt so good for having watched it. But like, you know.
Yeah.
This version
Okay.
was just,
Okay, so yeah, so I agree with that. I still sometimes wonder if she was maybe trying a little bit too hard, just to push, shooting. Like there was no as much as there was. Like I agree, being a badass in this type of sense. Shooting
No,
this
being
guy,
bad, not being a badass. She
being
was-
bad, but like the good guys are bad as well. But it was like. It blurred the lines in a way I'm not really fond of DC doing, because DC's good at making a clear-cut black and white, good and bad with a little bit of grey. But the way that a lot of these characters were set up makes it feel like they made the grey a lot bigger than I'm comfortable with. Like Waller was meant.
Suicide Squad is kind of the grey.
But it was a very grey, like extremely, Deadshot's in it for his kid. Diablo's killed his family, so he's a pacifist now. He didn't feel like. Would you guys think Diablo was really a bad guy in any of this? Like, do you think there was really any bad in Diablo in this?
I don't think he was ever a bad guy. No, like I think
that's the thing.
in the original source material, he wasn't a bad guy. I think.
But
He wasn't
I think
villain.
he was more there because of like the scale of the crimes he'd committed, rather than him being
Yeah.
a bad guy. It's
Yeah.
like they labeled him as a bad guy because of the scale of the crimes he's committed, including burning his own family to death.
But that's
Like-
but that's what I'm getting at. Is this was supposed to be this? Okay, at the very least, this is supposed to be villain. This is supposed to be villains going at it. How is it like this is supposed to be villains working with this? I'm willing to give Deadshot a pass because anti-hero villain, that there is that grey area. Diablo, I like a sympathetic character. I didn't like it. This movie failed in the sense that DC, in my opinion, is good at making great villains that can be clear cut with maybe a little bit
He
of
was
grey.
a gang member, to be fair. He was actually a bad guy before he realized he fucked up by burning his family.
I'm not arguing. Okay,
He was still a villain.
yeah, but did anyone else really feel like he was a villain, like any form of a villain during the present?
In the universe, he'll be the villain, but like in the story,
Yeah,
Yeah, during the present. I mean, like,
Performed, yeah.
like
yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's fine
Well,
that he was like that. Honestly.
It's like, well, for me,
Why?
no, well, because here's some villainous qualities that you existed in the rest of them. Harley Quinn was straight up crazy. Deadshot was pretty much in it for himself. Boomerang was straight up in it for himself.
God, I love him, by the way. He
Croc was just straight up a killer. Was straight up a killer.
Croc was
did
a
not give shits.
monster, and so he
Yeah,
became a
Croc,
monster.
Croc was
Sort of mistake.
Croc was the monster he became. Diablo Diablo was like there was no
didn't want part
villain.
of it.
He didn't want part of it, but honestly,
No, I liked him.
I did. Okay, I liked him as a sympathetic character. I liked him as a
I don't actually
sympathetic.
understand your problem. For
My
some
problem
reason.
is that
finding it difficult.
my problems is that a movie about villains should have should have guys saying, Harley Quinn literally saying, "We are the bad guys." I feel like there was way too much of an issue with them being in a grey area, as in with many of those characters being in grey area. Prime example, Deadshot finds out that I like that in movies. I like that in movies where it's meant to be. Like, would you guys have anything thought that I liked DC when they make a good villain. That's my issue with Marvel is when they humanize characters, which is fine, but then the amount of humanization is too far. And that's where I thought DC was meant to flourish. You've got your good, you've got your morally grey, you've got your clear good, you've got your clear morally grey to good, and then you've got your bad. Like, Joker is pure chaos. This whole movie should have, the characters that they meant were the sources of chaos in this universe, yet there was no fault, that wasn't there at all. Like, the Joker was probably the closest, Joker and Harley were probably the closest thing to chaos creators, but it was just not there. Diablo was passive and just Diablo was passive, and as much as Boomerang maybe tried to throw some form of non-caring chaos into this, it just wasn't there. There was no
Can I read a quote about this is a quote from Jai Courtney, the actor who played Boomerang, about his character. He said, "He is an absolute bogan in the purest sense. The director's first instruction was find your inner shitbag." It's a beautiful quote because it works for Boomerang. I liked Boomerang for what he did and what he didn't do and how he did what he did, basically.
Okay.
Can I just say, about that one scene with Harley where she literally just busts a window. I mean, we can easily talk about this because it is in the trailer.
The trailer.
Even if you're here and you're hearing spoilers, but because this is meant to be the spoiler zone, but it doesn't really matter. But that scene was in there literally just as a character moment for Harley and nothing else. That and the trailer shot.
Okay. Out of curiosity, does anyone else think there was any character development here at all? Do you think any of these characters developed? Which one?
Okay.
Diablo?
So, El Diablo got a lot of character moments. It's just it wasn't enough to really make him an outstanding character. Deadshot got enough. Harley got enough.
How did Harley develop? Explain to me how Harley develops.
Okay, she didn't develop.
She developed,
she was built
straight
up.
after. Yeah.
So, okay, no, but there's nothing.
The fucking espresso machine. The fucking espresso machine.
Yeah, that
was a gold.
Okay,
beautiful.
Okay, so let's go through this. How did Flag develop?
I feel like he became a little more freeform because he was super just like, all right, I have these orders even if I don't think they're right, just I'm gonna do them.
Okay, how did Waller develop?
She became a little less of a bitch.
Okay, so how did
it wasn't really enough to make it present.
How did Deadshot develop?
Realizing how to be it became more of an anti-hero rather than just this is my job kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. Out of all of this, and out of how many of these you can think of, how many of those developments do you think were significant enough to be apparent without having to be grabbing at straws a little bit?
Diablo and Harley Quinn.
Did Harley really develop that much? I feel like because she was back to square one. She was right back to square one by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's more of how we saw her develop, rather than how her character actually developed.
Well, that's not good storytelling.
Rather seeing the end result.
Harley Quinn was the journey.
She literally walked in a circle then.
It was amazing, though. It was an amazing circle. It was enjoyable. That's what the movie was. That's the thing. It was just an enjoyable...
A journey can go in a circle.
A journey can go in a circle, but And
a character development can go in a circle.
Remember, she's batshit crazy, so it's perfectly fine in any sense of logic.
Okay.
It's probably a really good term to use.
Off from the squad to the villain. What do you guys think of Enchantress?
I I liked her powers, but she felt
Yes.
a little
What were
too
her
much like
powers?
Juliana Vest from Magic the
Hang
Gathering.
on.
I
one
mean-
second.
How did she not win in terms of like,
Like,
all her powers?
that's what I
That-
mean.
that's
What were her powers? Like, legitimately, like, I can think of transport, maybe telekinetic, maybe. Like, her powers were never really explained that much. It was I'm powerful because, and,
Magic.
magic.
It was sort of voodoo magic. I
But-
just liked it for the spectacle.
well, okay, I'll agree it was a spectacle, but from a story perspective, and it goes back to what you were just saying, Terry. How did she not win? Like, her powers were never really explained, so we don't know how, like, she went from, having this, being able to, have this giant blue beam of light with a lot of crazy shit going around it and causing all that chaos to having the shit beaten out of her with a baseball bat.
Yeah, that made no sense whatsoever.
That made, that made no sense, and it didn't help that was, like, and that, like, she seemed like everyone knew she was the end goal by the movie, but somehow they seemed to make it look like, and
Yeah.
that didn't help.
With the bloody bomb scene as well, why couldn't she just teleport that bomb somewhere else? She clearly did it beforehand.
Yeah. There was just a lot of stuff not explained in this movie, like, sudden, like, and
Did you mean at the very end, Terry? I just have to catch up. Sorry, I had to quickly do something.
Like, what? She had like so much time to like stop that bloody bomb when they fucking chucked it into whatever her weapon was.
Hey,
How
to be
did she
fair,
not-
it was slowed time, like in in our perception, and
Yeah, but I mean, like, still so much time.
yeah, like, it's again.
I think it's because she needed to stay there, like.
Dude, what
I
was
know.
They
that?
never spoke. They never
I know.
mentioned that.
She was sort of like a video game villain.
This is not even that. This is one of those movies where they tried to,
Power
like,
was
any
super
rules
green.
they tried to establish, they broke. No, like, any powers they tried to establish, they immediately broke.
Remind me, by that point, had her heart been cut out yet?
No. Wait.
Dude, man, she just had to teleport to her brother.
Wait, no, yes, no. No, actually, no, the brother was dead at this point.
The brother was dead. The brother who was providing her power was dead, but had Enchantress had her, like...
Actually, no, her heart had, I think her heart had just been
She
cut out.
lost her heart when she was getting beaten up by a baseball bat.
No, she lost her heart
Okay.
when Harley made that snake move.
Yeah.
Like, that's the...
That was it.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, it's like... This movie tried to set up so many rules that the rules of this movie were really badly explained, and they were quite easily broken, and that's what pissed me off. That beyond anything
Shop
pissed me
was
off.
also
It's
broken.
well, okay, no, like, well, what do you mean? Like, are you talking about?
game.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the action scene where
bloody, yeah.
wait, Terry, what were you gonna say?
This is just my personal bias, but like guns do not work that way. Like in whatever sense, unless you have Vax hacks or whatever, guns do not work that way.
No, like, I'm willing to forgive that because simply put, that's literally Deadshot's power. They talked about that. He never misses. That's the point of him. He has that expertise with a gun to the point where
it looks cool. Yeah, I know. I get that. Like, it looks cool and all, but I'm just, from my personal bias, guns do not work that way.
well, fair
Unless
enough.
you have like insane muscle strength to control recoil.
But that's the point. I think that's kind of the point of That's kind of the point of Deadshot. You see how he does have that capability, but it's like, okay, but that's what I mean. They set up a rule with Deadshot. He never misses. He never unintentionally misses, and they stuck to it. What rules do they have for Enchantress? And I guarantee you, those rules, any they were trying to set up, were immediately busted.
Like, oh, well, you have the heart, you can control her. No, you can't.
Well,
yeah,
to be
I
fair,
think
if
that's
her
her
brother is
That's
there to
what-
then provide her with protection, then that kind of makes sense.
That is
without
true,
that.
but still.
Or maybe that's what they were kind of led to believe. They never. So she never
I
said.
would have thought that the
at one
heart
point.
would get instantly. If you were getting stabbed in the heart, you instantly die. But yeah, she
No,
doesn't.
okay.
die.
She's like a god being or something.
And-
Like they established that at least.
Out of-
Like if she's a
Also,
god being.
like, they know she went rogue. Why not just crush the heart like they did at the end?
Yeah.
And I also
I'm
like to
assuming
ask a question.
they thought they could, still contain it, but clearly not.
Maybe because Flag was like, okay, let's not kill my girlfriend while we're doing this.
I think, okay, out of curiosity, with the I didn't like the story overall because, as I just said, but What was she trying to do exactly? Like, what was the plan?
She was trying to get the world to worship her again.
No, but how?
That explains part of her character.
No, but like how? Like, what was like?
Through fear.
Make an
Like
army.
every single dictatorship. Through fear.
Okay,
Easy, done.
no. You're missing the point. How was she physically meant to do? Like, what was that thing she was she was making? She said she was making a machine. What was that machine gonna do? What, like, you know, she's like she
The
was.
things that it was doing before they stopped it.
What things was it doing beforehand? Then?
It was blowing up like a military sites.
No.
Didn't you see that?
Okay, fine. But it's like, okay, let me put it this way. That machine was just blowing shit up, and that was it. Like,
You know,
There
it was
was-
blowing up based on the information it was stealing from Waller's brain, key military sites that would have allowed them to coordinate a defense against her.
but that still doesn't explain like how she's going to mentor, how she's going to win how she's going to get these people to worship her and fear her. It seems like, okay, let me put it this way.
Again,
The way it comes across as is, I've got a big stick, worship me because. Not because A, B, and C, just because.
When she was from. That's how they did it when she was apparently from in the ancient world. She's in
you
this
are the
new
most
world.
powerful being, so you follow the most powerful being. If you were stronger, you would overthrow that powerful being.
The reason we're arguing against, you can argue against this, Chris, is because we have changed as human beings. She's from that time, so that's what she would think. Like, to the movie's credit, that was surprisingly accurate of her.
Sorry.
Whether it was
but
intentional
I agree with
or
Daniel
not,
here.
it was surprisingly accurate.
Yeah.
I know, because
It's like the only thing of a character.
like
Gilgamesh.
Like the old times.
here's the thing.
I have a big stick, so worship me.
Yeah,
That
but-
was kind of her thought process.
But they never really like said that. They like literally just went, when my machine is finished, like, you know, when my machine is finished, that's it.
Yeah.
But you're not you never. When did she vocally say or like highlight
She met her brother.
Yeah, when
And
she
again,
was with her brother.
that we will make a machine that will let us
again,
worship
go back to my
people,
point of
not the
you didn't
functionality?
need- Yeah.
Terry, what were you
Felt
gonna
like a Marvel
say?
villain.
Terry, what were
No,
you? Terry.
It's just going back to my point again, where it's like some scenes you didn't need in there. Like if they put in an explicit scene like that, where saying I'm going to take over the world, then like that means like how do I explain this?
There's a difference
You're
between
really
adding
going
a
off
scene
the
and going
Renaissance
into scene.
idea, show don't tell.
Yeah.
But the issue is, what they showed didn't, like, you're right, it blew up certain areas, but it's like, that's, okay,
That was a
okay,
base.
at worst, it doesn't make sense. At best, at worst, it doesn't make sense. At best, it's stereotypical. Because,
Yeah.
okay, here's the thing, at worst, it doesn't make sense. At best, it's the same concept of Independence Day.
That's why the movie wasn't that great.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to, and I'm,
Chris, remember,
Like we
Chris,
said,
the movie
the story
is
is not
great.
that good. The story is not good.
doesn't,
It's like that's part of it.
doesn't mean I'm gonna put kid gloves on.
Okay.
Anyway, we should probably
Sorry.
wrap some parts up.
Yeah, because we've been going for like how long now?
About 40 minutes.
Nearly an hour.
Yeah, about.
let's
so
just- let's
a
quickly
few
wrap
questions
this up.
I want to ask. A, would you watch a Suicide Squad 2?
No.
Yes.
Okay, one at a time.
Maybe someone paid for me.
I would if I'm about the same point as Joey. I would if someone paid me, but that's about it. Well, paid for me, that's about it.
Daniel, you said yes. Terry?
They can only go up from here. That's how I feel.
I would agree with
Okay,
you on
sure.
that. I would agree with you on that.
They improved on the previous movies to go up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
if the DC movies just progressively get better, they might eventually reach like Iron Man 1 levels. Oh, no, Iron Man 2 levels.
I would say Thor. I would more put it at Thor.
Give it a little longer and they'll be at Thor. They'll be at
Oh
Thor by
god,
probably the end of.
I'm gonna say this right now. With the fact that we have made so many Marvel comparisons, like the fact that we've made so many Marvel comparisons, just like there's clear bias in here.
Who cares?
There is, but
There-
Give us
it's
a
not
reason
like anyone
to.
else is not
Yeah.
feeling biased.
No, I'm just kind of.
Harry?
I'm trying to stay unbiased in the sense of like how they approach this type of stuff, but it's like I'm trying to stay unbiased and just keep it to to being critical on what's there. But it's like Jesus
Well, okay,
Christ.
then we should compare it to the Batman movies before here,
Okay.
in which those Batman movies are too good.
That-
Batman 3 level.
Anyway,
Gosh.
we should finally, Terry. Would you
Yeah,
watch the,
right.
Would you watch the number 2?
Only if they know, only if they can clear up the stuff from any plot holes from number 1, then I'll watch it. But other than
Okay,
that,
so
no.
after reviews. Okay,
Yeah.
me, yes, I would watch it. Yes, I would watch a Suicide Squad 2.
Okay, and then back to another question: would you guys watch this? Would you recommend someone watch this, Daniel?
Yes, I'd say it's good but not great. It's enjoyable, so you might like it. Give it a try.
Blake.
Yes, but only if they're watching like the movies to get a general idea of what the hell is going on.
Joey.
Like,
Oh, sorry. No.
no,
Yes.
I'm done.
Yes, if you only have prior a bit, like a bit about these characters, that's it.
Terry.
I would say yes. It's still enjoyable in its own right. Like coming in knowing nothing, you still get a general idea of what's happening, despite all its flaws.
It's still fun.
It's still a fun movie.
As much as I've been tearing this movie apart, and you know, I try to be critical with everything, with when I'm analyzing type of stuff, I'd still say watch it because the way I put it when I walked out of the cinema, and I told you this, Daniel, it's a very mixed movie. Yeah, like there are moments where it's fun, there's moments where it's humorous, but I just can't. It's the CinemaSins effect. I just can't sit there and not have issues.
Like it's not like
That makes
it's not like a must-watch movie.
Yeah,
It's like
it's a
watch it. You really.
It's a movie you watch if you want your own opinion.
it's a movie. I'll just leave it at that. Okay.
It's a movie.
That has been
What?
the
I got
bronze.
one more question.
Yeah.
That has been Suicide Squad. It was a movie.
I got one question. Would you watch like any solo movie if these were the characters? One of these characters were the star.
Deadshot, maybe.
I want a Boomerang movie. Just so we get some Australia in here.
Oh yes, yes.
Boomerang,
movie would be
Deadshot.
just fun.
Okay.
Robbing banks.
Here's
Harley can possibly have a good one as well.
on her own, probably not, to be honest. But like, okay.
I don't think she
Alright.
would be good.
But like
Deadshot, I would
like a
like to
Joker and
see.
Harley movie. Yeah.
Okay. This has been the bronze screen review for Suicide Squad. Clearly, we're a bit mixed on this, but overall, so we'll release this when we can. Otherwise, you know, check out the BJCK's other content, and we will see you guys later. Thanks.
2.5 out of 5 stars.
Bye.
Bye.
Needs more water. ING. 8 out of 10.